Fox is done for the year. I'm sure you already know how we're both going to say how this went. But, Riley, I'll let you go first. Give me a grade for Fox's broadcast production this year in 2025. And give me some good, if you can, some bad. And what would you improve on the most?
So I don't think it's like blow it all up. I don't want to see Fox anymore because I do think they do some good stuff. I think it's still really bad, and I think it's like a D plus. I think the pre-race is better than it has been. I think.
Yeah, when they weren't in the NASCAR Race Hub studio for pre-race, and you just had no feel for the track. I give you that.
I think Jamie does a good job. I don't think that's what he's best at. I think he'd be better in the booth.
McMurray, you're talking about, not Jamie Little.
Yeah. I think Jamie McMurray's really good. I like what they do with the pre-race stuff. It's still kind of awkward. I think they don't take it seriously enough. I don't think Jamie does, but with Clint and Michael and kind of joking around and the issue with it is they're not journalists, and there really aren't any journalists anymore in the sport. You used to have. Now I know it wasn't Fox, but you used to have guys like Marty Smith and Matt Yoakum, and guys that
Dick Bergman.
Yeah, guys that wrote for a living, and guys that like their job was TV and
Steve
writing
Burns.
and documenting the sport, and that's when interviews and all that stuff pre-race was the best, and even during the race, was the best because you had guys that knew what questions to ask, how to ask them, and the drivers respected them.
Yeah.
And they gave them good answers.
There's a Dick Bergman after Dale Jr. Robbie Gordon at Bristol 2002. Dick had the perfect way to start this interview. Dale's all mad at Robbie. Dick goes out. Dale, what's cooking? That 31 car just drives like an ass. Name me somebody in today's on Fox, really anywhere, that would say that could get a conversation going like that, like Dick did back in the day.
The issue with the
nobody
guys,
does that. Regan Smith ain't gonna say that.
The issue with the guys now on Fox in that role is it's almost like they phrase the questions with an answer in mind. It's like they're fishing for an answer instead of just getting the driver's opinion. So they'll go up and be like, "Hey, Robbie Gordon did this to you.
Yeah.
You did that. They did this dumb shit to you. I'm sure you're very upset at him. Is there going to be any payback?"
Yeah, it's like
you
already answered most of my questions.
Yeah, the answer's going to be no, I'm not going to pay him back, or yes, I'm going to pay him back. But when you go up to a guy and you say, "Hey, tell me about what happened from your perspective. Tell me how this is going to go forward." Or, "Hey, Dale, what's cooking?"
Yeah.
You let Dale talk, and that shows the driver's...
speak right from his mind.
Yeah, that shows the driver's personality more and all that. So I think that's something that Fox could learn from, is watching how that used to go when you had Matt Yoakum and Berggren and Dr. Jerry Punch. Now, I know these guys didn't all work for Fox, but... watch how they used to conduct their interviews and why the drivers respected them. I think back to, was it Yoakum? When Tony said I'm a bust his ass.
That was Steve.
That was Steve Burns. Tony. Tell me about what's going on with you and Logano.
What the hell you think I was mad about?
Yeah, why are you mad at Logano? What do you think? I'm a bust his ass.
Thanks, Tony. Put it back.
Yeah,
that was it. That's all you needed.
That's it, right? You let the drivers show their personality more. And I think that's one thing Fox is doing a little bit better with the pre-race stuff, but they're still not great. The production is not good. I hate the cartoon shit that they do. I don't like the way that they do their scoreboard. I don't like the way that they do driver intro while they're, pacing. I don't like most of the questions that are asked out of the booth when they are talking to drivers over the radio before the race.
Get the driver's name wrong. Thinking who you're talking to, Clint.
Yeah, and I think it's just they don't take it seriously enough.
Just another day in the damn office.
What we talk about all the time, like, it seems like Fox is concerned about the wrong stuff, and, they're videoing the wrong stuff. They're cutting to cameras at weird times.
Going to a damn side-by-side with 9 to go at Talladega.
You've got, for example, this weekend at North Wilkesboro, you had pit stops. I can't remember if this was during the heat or during the open or during, whatever it was. But we're videoing pit road. Like, we're videoing pit crews getting ready while guys are pitting.
Coming on the pit road.
Like, while guys...
I think that was the open.
While guys are trying to, I want to see who's pitting and who's staying out. Yep. I don't want to see tires sitting on the wall and guys fucking testing their pit guns. I don't care about that, right? I don't want to video the crowd and pan to the restart. I want to see guys...
Where they're already on the finish line.
Yeah, I want to see the roll up to the restart zone. I want to see if the leader's going to lag back. I want to see if the guy's going to jump the restart. I want to see the race. I don't give a fuck what the crowd's doing. I don't care. Show me the race. And, it's, we've had plenty of times. North Wilkesboro this weekend's another example where we're not videoing the chews. We have guys talking about shit that don't matter during the chews, so they have to stop talking and say, oh, we're coming to the chews. Like, it's just...
Cutting off Larry Mack when he's doing a good analysis, because that's the only good thing about Fox, and they go to side by side.
So, there's a lot of things that Fox can do better, and we've got a new broadcaster coming in. We got Amazon that's coming in, and TNT. They're not new, but they're new again, right? And it's not they've not been around for a while.
It's been 11 years since they've been doing NASCAR.
I think it's going to be night and day. I think Amazon's going to knock it out of the park, because I like Amazon's NFL stuff.
Other than Al Michaels just not caring.
Yeah, Al Michaels doesn't care, but the production's good.
Yeah, Kirk is good,
and
everything else is solid.
I think they have a lot of good people. Dale Jr.
We'll talk about it later, but Carl Edwards and Corey LaJoie and Danielle Trotta as the pre-race. That's going to be awesome.
It is. But overall, Fox, I'm glad it's over with. I think they need to take some long, hard looks in the mirror and figure out what they're trying to be, because their broadcasts seem cartoony. They seem childish. Serious. They seem unserious, and they don't. It seems like they just are unprepared a lot of the time, and it's not good.
Yeah, I do agree. It was, I give it a D-. It's almost failing. There was not hardly anything that I liked about Fox this year. And, Kevin Harvick's the only real bright spot. Jamie Little's good as a pit road reporter. She's solid. But I do like, shining a light on the crew members every week throughout the year. That was cool. Getting to know these guys more than just pit crew members, where they went to college. A lot of them were former college athletes. It's cool. We talked about a couple weeks ago with one of RFK's, I think it was Priest's or Brad's crew, being a former Clemson Tiger, which is cool because I'm a Clemson fan. It's just cool to do that.
Even Michael Waltrip in the truck stuff tones down his goofiness when he's in the booth.
Yeah, Clint doesn't do that. At least he doesn't do it most of the time. Every now and then he will be decent. But it's few and far between. So I would love to see them take out Mike Joy, take out Clint Boyer, keep Kevin up there, put Larry Mack back in there with Kevin, and
get a new play.
I'd take Josh Sims calling races at this point. Which, by the way, Josh Sims, he covered for Chris Myers this weekend, the last race. He was all right. He was good. I liked him doing that. He wasn't perfect. But
it's the first time he did it.
He was way better than Chris Myers the past couple of years doing the pre-race stuff. So I like Josh Sims. He was very good. He's a good pit reporter too. He's very solid. He's kind of the shining light of the people that are not former drivers or crew, or pit crew or crew chiefs or whatever, that are kind of decent. I mean, he's not Dick Bergwijn. He's not Matt Yoakum. But he has the potential to be close to those guys in the future. So I like to see Josh Sims get a bigger role in Fox in the future. Obviously, they lost Adam to the CW and to now Amazon, so they can't get Adam. I don't think they'll try to get Alan Bestwick. That's what they should do. Alan Bestwick needs to be calling NASCAR races. I don't give a shit what anybody says. But, there's a lot of bad. And,
using lessons learned from his father.
It's just frustrating because, we said this 100 times, but Fox used to be the best NASCAR broadcast booth, and they have just fallen so far out of heaven to be. They're not even close. NBC, which I don't think is perfect, it is 100 times better than Fox. And I think we'll see this weekend. Amazon is already going to be way better unless they just screw the pooch than Fox. TNT should be way better than Fox. And it just kind of seems like Fox is kind of giving up on NASCAR because, they got the IndyCar rights now starting this year. They've put way more effort into, showing the IndyCar stuff. The cool commercial with Joseph Newgarden and Alex Palou. And you go to that, and you go to NASCAR, and it's just like, whatever. We've had this for 25 years, whatever it is, what it is. Fox starts NASCAR every year. Tune in, whatever. So, I would like to see Fox give a shit about NASCAR because I think NASCAR deserves it. And until that happens, until they make some changes, Artie Kepner's are obviously out. He was out after Talladega. And I think the production after that was a little better, but it still wasn't great. And hopefully they'll have a year to kind of reminisce it and get more comfortable with how they should run whoever's running it starting next year. And just have a race broadcast be more smooth and just kind of happen naturally. Get a good feel of how a race should be called and covered. Like I've went to school for media, so obviously I'm not the perfect guy. I can't go out there and be the perfect producer for a Fox broadcast, but I guarantee you I can feel how a race should go and what camera angles we should use here and when we should go to commercial and all that stuff. If I have a choice in the matter with commercials and stuff. But camera angles, when to talk about this, when to talk about that. I've been watching NASCAR for 25 years. I know how it should flow. I've seen it at its peak when it was good. So if I can do that, who getting paid at Fox a lot of money, they should be able to do it too.
There's a fine line between having knowledge and having passion for the sport and having knowledge and passion for the job you're doing, right? So that's what made Mike Joy so good for so long is that he had a knowledge and passion for motor racing.
So did Larry and so did DW.
But he also had the TV expertise, right?
It's true.
And that's what made guys like we talked about on Pit Road Reporting, made Matt Yoakum and Dr. Jerry Punch and, Steve Burns and all these guys that were so good back in the day is they were fans of the sport, but they also had the training, the knowledge, the experience of the job they were doing. Like I have the knowledge and the passion for the sport, but I don't have the TV knowledge. And Clint Boyer's the same way. Like he's not a TV guy. Like, and we can't expect them to be that way, right? That's not what they do. Now, they have personality and they're fun to listen to in segments, but when you're on TV every single day and you're doing TV and you're writing and you're interviewing and you're doing the things, and that's why I think Kevin's so good compared to at least the others, is that he's integrated himself. He's got a TV show. He's got a podcast.
But he takes himself seriously when
he takes himself seriously, and he's not, like, that's his job. His job isn't to be entertaining. I mean, it is. But his job is not to goof around. His job is to be a journalist. I mean, he's not a journalist, but his job is to be a journalist.
Informative about the race.
Yeah, his job is to do what the guys in the booth should be doing, is to talk to the fan and tell them what's going on, using his experience to confirm what your eyes are seeing or to explain a situation. And And unfortunately, there's just not a lot of people that have both. It seems like, you've got, what's the guy that took over for Chris this weekend? What's his name? Chris Myers. Josh Sims. Josh Sims has the TV background, right? It seems like he's got some knowledge and some background in the sport. Now, do I think Josh Sims is the most knowledgeable, NASCAR guy out there? Probably not. But he's got the happy medium, right? That he can do both. And Fox just doesn't have a lot of those personalities. They seem to prioritize, and they do the same thing with their football broadcasting. They prioritize names and knowledge, and I don't want to say that knowledge of the sport isn't important, but they seem to prioritize names and background in the sport
more than the talent, on-air talent.
The ability to actually do the job. They think that just because
Tom Brady's the GOAT, he can call football
and they think that because Clint Boyer is funny and he's raced a race car in his life, that he can be on TV. And that's just Clint Boyer is
he deserves to be on TV, just not in the booth.
Clint Boyer deserves 3 or 4 30-second segments on TV every race.
Yeah.
He deserves Jamie McMurray's job. Yeah. And Jamie McMurray should be in the booth with Kevin. I think Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, and Jamie McMurray would fix a lot of Mike Joy's issues because he doesn't have to carry Clint Boyer and he doesn't have to mop up after Clint Boyer says some dumb shit or tries to go off on a tangent about drinking or partying in the infield, right? Like, look, I like to drink just as much, if not more, than Clint Boyer. But I don't need my fucking broadcast telling me about it. I need my broadcast telling me what I'm watching on the TV.
Yeah.
And Fox just doesn't understand that. And like I said, they do the same thing with football, and it's frustrating. So I think that they've got some soul searching to do. They're not going to get rid of Clint Boyer. Mike Joy's not going anywhere.
We're not saying get rid of Clint. We're just saying
they're not going to take him out of the booth. They're not going to. But they're not going to.
Why?
I just don't think they will.
Well, reason why I agree with most of what you're saying, back in the day we had, to be fair, at NBC back in the day we had Wally and Benny Parsons, which were both racers. But
they
Benny
took their
was
job
really old.
serious.
Yeah, my point is, I think you need a racer and a former crew chief. Fox back in the day, DW, Larry. I think Kevin, Larry, and Mike would be a lot better than Jamie, Kevin, and Mike, just because you want perspectives from a driver, you want perspectives from a crew chief, and then obviously the play-by-play guy. Because Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton, and Rick Allen. Rick Allen was a weak spot in that, but they were great because you had a crew chief telling his point of view, you had a driver telling his point of view. You could explain the race in a driver's mentality and a crew chief's mentality, and as a fan you could digest that and be like, okay, this is what I would do. I got both ends now.
And that's
not saying they were always right.
I liked when they had the 4-person booth in NBC. I
thought it was a little crowded.
See, I think 4 is fine. I think more than 4 is too much. I think 3 is fine.
What booth has more than 4?
Nobody, but I'm just saying you can't go more than 4 is what I'm saying.
Usually it's 2.
I think in NASCAR having the play-by-play guy, that should be a TV guy. That should be the guy that his background is TV. Maybe he watches racing. He grew up in racing, but he's not a NASCAR insider, right? You having a guy that has knowledge of the sport, but his job, like Rick Allen. Rick Allen was not he's not a NASCAR historian. He's not a NASCAR guy. His job was TV, and he did good for a little bit. Now he has some gaffes. He's probably not as bad as we talk shit about him. He said some dumb shit, but everybody has.
Yeah.
But having that crew chief, having the driver, I'm good with. But I think the more important aspect of it is just knowledge and ability to operate on camera. And I think Jamie McMurray is the best at that compared to the rest of the drivers. He's better than Kevin. He's better than Clint by far. He's better than Dale. I think he's better than Dale. I like Dale, but I think he's better than Dale. I think he's better than Jeff.
Dale is really good.
Dale's really good because of his passion and his ability to show his emotions.
He can have, I think, the difference between Dale and Clint, because you could say they kind of try to go out as the same.
They have the same role.
They do have the same role, but Dale is better at explaining stuff and having
he's more
prepared and more relatable to the fan than Clint Boyer is.
Yeah. And because Dale can be goofy.
And he's more popular.
Dale can be funny.
Yeah.
But he doesn't try too hard to do it. And it's more natural, and it's more accepting when you know that the guy is being genuine. It's like Clint Boyer is trying to be the goofball.
He's trying too hard, yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying, like, if you had, I think if you had a 4-man booth in Fox, I'd be fine with it. If you had Larry Mack, Jamie, Kevin, and Mike, I would be fine with that, because it takes some burden off of Mike, because Larry could handle some of that, and Jamie could handle some of that. You've got the crew chief perspective. You've got the 2 recent drivers, but you've also got the TV expertise of all of them. Mm-hmm. And I think that would help a lot. But I also think that the reason, and I said it 5 minutes ago, the pit road reporting is more important than a lot of people understand. Yeah. And the pit road reporting on Fox is not good. Regan Smith does not deserve to be on television. He should not be on TV. He's not good at it. Jamie Little is a fine pit road reporter, but she shouldn't be calling races.
What do you mean by that?
I get what you're saying. And there's just, hell, even Larry McReynolds is a good pit road reporter. He does good pit road stuff. And, I think they need to start prioritizing ability to work on camera over the NASCAR background, because you can learn the sport, but it's difficult if you don't have a background in TV to just learn that stuff on the fly.
Yeah, it's fair, but overall I'd give it a D-. Wasn't the worst, but there's a lot to improve, and hopefully Fox, will learn. See how Amazon does. I think Amazon will be, if we've seen the Amazon football stuff, they're going to be a lot more analytical. What was it on the NFL this year? The percentages on the Amazon. You know what I'm talking about? Next gen stats, like the passes and all that stuff. I think Amazon will have that covered, just because that's kind of been their shtick in the NFL. I think they'll bring that to NASCAR. It'll be interesting to see how they do this weekend on how they bring that to life. And
it's a big race they got to do it on.